can be difficult to judge The Star Beast objectively as an episode since it marks such a big transition for Doctor Who as a whole, the de-Chibnallization of the show. It juggles that with being a potential jumping-on point for new viewers via Disney+, and the reintroduction of old fan-favorite characters like Donna Noble, who had her memory wiped at the end of Series 4 to save her life.
No, please, no, 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 no!
There's a lot to talk about, so let's just start at the beginning. The Star Beast opens with a somewhat awkward recap of Series 4, voiced by David Tennant as he floats in space.
Once upon a time, Lord, I had a best friend. Donna saved the entire universe by taking the power of the Time Lords into her mind. She had to forget everything she ever knew, because if Donna ever remembers me, she will die.
This opening is so stilted and awkward that the director of the episode was quick to disown it on Twitter. Good sign. So then the episode actually starts, and for the first time we see the 14th Doctor exit his TARDIS. Not including that one Children in Need special that was a thing. And personally, I found this scene to be a little jarring, considering the last we saw of the 14th Doctor was complete and utter confusion and bewilderment as to why his face came back.
What? What? But now this face has come back. Why?
I found it a bit odd how jovial and comfortable he seemed at the beginning of this story. Even if the implication was supposed to be that he's been traveling for some time before this episode takes place, just imagine this from the perspective of someone binging through the show. They wouldn't watch the Children in Need special, they'd go straight from The Power of the Doctor into this, and it just wouldn't flow very well. Oh, and this isn't related to anything, but if you take out the happy music from this scene, it looks like the Doctor is extremely drunk. So after sauntering around, he runs into Donna, and it's here we get our first good joke of the episode.
Thank you very much. Oi!
We learn that Donna now has a daughter named Rose, because even after all these years, Russell T Davies still cannot resist referencing Rose at any possible opportunity.
Rose! What? Rose!
What?
Rose!
Rose is also trans, which factors heavily into this episode's story, but we'll just put a pin in that for now. Throughout the episode, we learn what's happened to Donna over the years, and how her subconscious has tried to fill the gap left by the Doctor in her life.
Sometimes I think there's something missing. Like I had something lovely and it's gone.
While this is happening, an adorable alien named the Meep seemingly crashes on Earth and presents itself to Rose.
Please be my friend.
Anyone familiar with Doctor Who comics will recognize this as Beep the Meep. Yes, that is its name. It's one of those characters that falls under the cute, adorable, mysterious creature that turns out to be evil or extremely dangerous trope. The Meep we see in this episode is no exception, as it's revealed to be evil in a shocking twist.
Now to hell with this.
Meaning the Doctor and Donna must work together to stop the Meep from destroying London.
The whole of London town burnt as fuel.
But that's 9 million people.
They did a great job bringing Beep the Meep to the big screen, cuteness and all.
Your brains came up with the Meep.
I'm glad that the Meep was well received and not overshadowed by any mass media controversies.
Are you he or she or they?
My chosen pronoun is the definite article.
Fucking pronouns!
Did a Dalek exterminate all common sense from the new series of Doctor Who?
Before we get into anything else, let's just talk about the positives, because there are things to like here. For the first time in a while, the dialogue feels natural and conveys information about the characters without feeling forced. I think we all remember that one of the things the Chibnall era got criticized for the most was wooden and unnatural dialogue.
I do not want this baby. I can't be a dad.
Hey, starting now. You're gonna give him life. You're gonna bring a person into being. Mate, that is epic.
The humor could also be quite off.
The Wi-Fi's gone off.
Everything's gone off. No Wi-Fi, no phone signal, it's all down.
Not even Netflix. What do we do?
Suppose we'll have to have a conversation.
What?
Luckily, this episode doesn't have those same issues, since, if we're being honest, Russell has always excelled with dialogue.
You have a kid, and then she grows up into this extraordinary, beautiful thing, and you think, how lucky am I? Don't you, Mum? Oh!
I think some of what makes this episode feel more natural than a Chibnall one is the blocking. Blocking is how characters move around a scene, and in this episode it feels very natural. Characters talk as they do stuff. A common issue with Chibnall scenes, for me at least, is that characters don't really move around, they just kind of stand in formation as they chit-chat, and it makes everything feel very unnatural. There are noticeable parallels between the sense of humor in The Star Beast and that of Series 1.
You got a cat?
No. Just get strays. They're coming off the estate.
The special effects and editing are noticeably improved from the Chibnall era, and I think all the actors involved did a splendid job. I think the directing is pretty good as well. Some of the shots in the episode are full-on color coordinated like it's a Wes Anderson flick. Look at all that blueness. However, I'm sorry to say it, but that's kind of where the positives end for me. I feel like this episode really struggles in a few key departments, namely its story. So the Doctor runs into Donna and naturally tries to get away from her because, if you recall, she will die if she remembers him.
Donna took the mind of a Time Lord into her head. I had to wipe her memory to save her life. If she ever remembers me, she will die.
However, once the story really kicks into gear, the Doctor drops any pretense of even trying to be careful around Donna anymore.
You got two hearts. So do I.
You've got what?
No, he means it like a metaphor, like two minds, don't you?
This is a sonic screwdriver, and if it's good at one thing, it's resonating concrete.
What are you doing, man? Why is he suddenly so blasé about everything? I'm not bringing this up in an attempt to highlight a plot hole, but rather because I think this is out of character for the Doctor. I can't imagine him putting anyone he cares about as much as Donna in danger just because it's convenient. What's funny is that last time Donna appeared in the Whoniverse, it was under basically the exact same circumstances. It was in The End of Time, the last episode of Russell T Davies' first era. And in that episode, Donna is so sensitive to being reminded of the Doctor and everything she saw on her travels that she has to be effectively shielded from any potentially triggering stimuli. I suppose a long passage of time has occurred, but seeing the Doctor exercise literally zero caution around her until the end of the episode when he suddenly starts caring again.
Let me help.
No, you can't get involved.
Doesn't really sit right. It feels like the Doctor is only acting like this because the plot needs him to, not necessarily because it's what he would actually do. That kind of leads me to a bigger point I wanted to make about this episode. Things just kind of happen, and the plot ends up feeling a little arbitrary. Apparently the Doctor can do this with his screwdriver now. When did he have time to install these upgrades? It's implied that not a whole lot of time has passed since he regenerated.
That's his Grand Mistress.
Catch up.
So why has he never used this extremely overpowered ability before, or for that matter, again after this? Good question. That's what I was trying to get at earlier. Doctor Who's a show where you can do pretty much anything. The explanations for how the Doctor can do what he does are all bullshit, but it's still important that they're there so that it feels like there's some kind of limit on what he can actually do, because if it seems like the Doctor has unlimited power to do literally whatever at any given moment just because the writer decided it would be convenient, it's hard for an audience to get invested in the story. And if there's any part of this episode that really suffers from this contrived writing, it's the ending. So the Doctor is on this spaceship trying to abort its launch because it will destroy all of London, and when he's in the middle of his work, this glass divider comes down, separating him from a lot of the controls he needs to dingle-dangle. So naturally, he tries dictating to Donna what buttons he needs to press.
Let me help.
Switches, the top ones, the blue ones, stick them all down.
But then he kind of gives up on that and decides instead to unleash the Time Lord energy inside of her so that she can save the day at the cost of her life.
Because you and I can stop this shit, but it will kill you.
Okay.
Tornado.
150.
Cliff tops. Burrow. Dance. Mexico.
And so she uses her Time Lord knowledge to abort the launch, but then she dies. But it turns out Donna is actually fine.
What? You're not dead.
Because she had a child, which split the power of the meta-crisis between them.
Too much power for one person, but you had a child, and the meta-crisis passed down.
closing down all psychedelic lightwave emanators and transferring excess power to the broken dome prefixulators.
So the day is saved and the Meep is defeated. Donna and her daughter then simply expel the metacrisis energy from their bodies because I guess they can do that. If I'm being honest, I have a lot of issues with this scene, but I'll just boil it down to these 4. Issue 1. The circumstances under which the Doctor has to kill Donna in order to save London feel a little contrived. Keep in mind, this is the Doctor making the decision to sacrifice his own best friend for the greater good. As a viewer, I don't think the episode did a good enough job explaining why the Doctor can't just simply keep dictating to Donna what buttons she needs to press, especially since they still have a few minutes left on the countdown, and ultimately it seems like Donna only needs to mess with a few controls.
I will triple drive the particle manifesto, overstep the umbilical feed, shutter fry the positrons! Yes!
3, 2.
It seems unlikely to me to suggest that Donna really wouldn't have had enough time to do that, especially since right after the Doctor declares that they've run out of time, they have a 3-minute conversation before Donna even touches any of the controls.
We've run out of time.
Oh, I'll show you destruction, mate.
Maybe you can make the argument that Donna is just so incompetent that she wouldn't have been able to do this in time. We'll never know. But the fact that the Doctor doesn't even try feels odd to me. It made it more difficult for this scene to affect me emotionally when I found myself wondering why the Doctor is sacrificing Donna when there seems to be a much more obvious solution he's not even trying.
Why does it have to be this?
I don't know, Doctor. Why does it have to be this? And this is an easy fix. You could just have there be far less time left on the countdown. Though I think there's a better way to rewrite this scene. Just move the part where the glass divider comes down to a little later in the scene after the Doctor's told Donna that if she gets involved, it'll kill her. And make it so that when it comes down, it's also noise cancelling, meaning they can no longer hear each other. Then we could get a really heartwarming silent moment where, when the Doctor's freaking out, knowing what has to be done, Donna just puts her hand on the glass to let him know it's okay. She gives her consent. Then he could put his hand on the glass and they could just have a moment together before he summons forth some regeneration energy and transfers it into her. Look, call it sappy all you want. This show was made to be sappy. Shut up. I like this not only because it conveys all the emotions of the scene non-verbally, but because it mirrors Donna and the Doctor's reintroduction at the beginning of season 4 when they were separated by glass and couldn't hear each other. Except where it was comedic there, it would be tragic here. At the very least, I think it would work better than the Doctor reactivating Donna like she's the Winter Soldier, which was never really set up.
Westerly. Pelican.
It's a small change, but I think it would go a long way. Issue 2. It's kind of a rehash of a scene we already saw in The End of Time, after an entire episode of the audience being told Donna will die if she remembers the Doctor.
Just go to her now, go on, just run across the street, go up and say hello.
If she ever remembers me, her mind will burn and she will die.
She does remember him, and she has a different fake-out death.
What did I...
Donna? What was that? Donna? Donna, are you there?
There it was revealed to the audience that the Doctor, at some point off-screen, installed a defense mechanism in Donna which protects her in the event of her remembering him.
Do you think I'd leave my best friend without a defense mechanism? She's all right, she's fine, promise. She'll just sleep.
So, if the Doctor knew that Donna wasn't actually in any danger, why did he keep telling everyone that she would die if she remembered him? The answer is somewhere in Russell T Davies' head, but it never made it into the script. The point I'm trying to get at is that this defense mechanism is never acknowledged in the Star Beast, and I found myself wondering, does it only work once, or is Donna actually not in any danger? The Doctor's already lied about this once, so why should I trust him now?
If she ever remembers me, she will die. She will die.
She will die.
What happened?
She's all right, she's fine, promise.
Like, was it really necessary to bait us with another Donna's dead fake out? Moral of the story, don't copy The End of Time, because that episode is a perfect example of when camp becomes cringe. Issue 3. I think the reveal that Rose is a product of the meta-crisis is mishandled. And believe me, I like the idea on its face, but I don't think it's executed well. For starters, it just comes out of nowhere.
The shed was her memory of the TARDIS. Every creature we met, she remembered as a toy.
Exterminate!
Upgrade in progress.
These toys that the episode points to as examples of her repressed memories only show up for the first time in the climax, depriving the audience of having any chance of piecing this together for themselves. Imagine how much more satisfying this could have felt if it had been woven into the story all along. If there had been little moments when Rose seemed to act like the Doctor, or we'd caught some glimpses of these toys that looked like Cybermen, then it would have felt like all these clues fell into place during the climax, and audience members would have been like, oh, I see it now.
It was always there.
But Russell didn't do this because he just wanted the moment to be shocking and didn't want there to be any chance audience members would predict it, which makes it feel random and unearned when it's established. But that's far from being the clunkiest thing about this reveal. And before I get into what I'm about to say, I'm sure Russell had the best of intentions when writing this. I'm sure he was just trying to shine a light onto trans issues, something that he clearly feels very passionately about. But there's a heavy implication that the reason Rose identifies as trans is because of the meta-crisis energy inside her. In this episode's most cringeworthy moment, we flash between Donna saying binary and Rose saying non-binary.
Binary. Non-binary. Binary.
And apparently, because the Doctor is neither male nor female, and the Doctor was inside Rose,
That's what she said!
That made Rose neither male nor female.
We are binary.
She's not, because the Doctor's male and female.
And neither. And more.
Okay, wait. Doesn't it kind of cheapen the whole trans representation to imply that the only reason this character is trans is because of timey-wimey sci-fi shit? I don't think the best representation for a minority group is when they're only there to be a plot device.
It becomes a vital part of the plot that Rose contains the he and the she and the neither and the both.
I myself am not trans, obviously, though neither was the person who wrote this. But there is just something odd to me about adding a trans character into your narrative, specifically because, in your view, trans people contain the he and the she, even though it was never made clear at any point before this that Rose identified as non-binary and it seemed like she just wanted to be seen as a woman. And for the sake of being generous, maybe this isn't what Russell meant. Maybe the idea is that the meta-crisis is supposed to be a metaphor for being trans, and it didn't influence Rose's identity at all, but rather the other way around. But even if this was his intention, the way he wrote it kind of accidentally ends up implying that this is not the case.
We are binary.
She's not, because the Doctor's male and female.
The episode somehow gets even clunkier after this when, shortly before dispelling their meta-crisis energy, Rose and Donna say this to the Doctor.
We've got all that power, but there is a way to get rid of it. Something a male-presenting Time Lord will never understand.
Okay, so again, I'm sure Russell was trying to be progressive here by inserting a feminist moment, but he inadvertently ends up pushing an ideology of gender essentialism, and it's especially jarring to say someone is incapable of something because of the body they currently inhabit in an episode that's supposed to be pro-trans. Apparently the Doctor doesn't have the emotional intelligence to know that you can just get rid of Time Lord abilities at will because he currently identifies as a man. I mean, he was a woman an hour ago. Does having a penis just disqualify you?
It's a shame you're not a woman anymore, because she'd have understood.
Issue 4. There's a serious lack of stakes or consequences at the end of this episode for anything. Like, there's an entire sequence showing the Meep destroying London, but then the Doctor and Donna flip a few switches and the ground just fixes itself, which is a bit cheap, but not nearly as cheap as when Donna just gets all of her memories back without any complications. Now, this might just be me speaking, but The ending of Series 4, when Donna had to have her memory wiped, was the perfect conclusion for her character arc, as well as being the perfect thematic conclusion to a tragedy. The confidence Donna had slowly been building up throughout the season, her pride and joy, ultimately ends up being her undoing, and she has to give it all up to save the world.
Donna, I was just going.
Yeah, see ya. I'll tell you what though, you're wasting your time with that one.
I just want you to know that there are worlds out there, safe in the sky because of her. They will never forget her. Well, she can never remember.
But no matter what became of her, the Doctor would never forget her or what she did. Is this sad? Yes, but it was a very effective piece of writing, which, in my opinion, is now less effective because Russell really wanted to go back and give everything a happy ending. The fact that Donna was a human Time Lord metacrisis seemed like an unsolvable issue back in 2008.
There's never been a human Time Lord metacrisis before now. And you know why?
Because there can't be.
Oh, Donna Noble, I am so sorry.
But now, in this episode, it's actually so solvable that Donna and Rose imply that the Doctor's an idiot for even thinking that it was a problem. And kind of by extension, the audience.
We've still got to fix you two. That thing is wrapped around your cortex.
There is a way to get rid of it.
Just let it go.
You see what I mean by lack of stakes? Or logic? You guys don't get it. All things are possible when you have girl power. This episode, perhaps a little lacking in verisimilitude for my tastes. Also, I'm just gonna be petty and throw it out there that canonically Rose's age doesn't make any sense. This episode is set in 2023 and she's stated to be 15.
Rose is a 15-year-old girl.
And yet the last time we saw Donna was canonically in the spring of 2010 and she didn't have a kid yet. In fact, she wasn't even pregnant. So for her to have a 15-year-old daughter in 2023, something ain't adding up here, Chief.
Sack Russell T. Davies.
We also get to see a new TARDIS interior in this episode.
This is amazing!
I don't have any strong thoughts on it really, apart from the fact that this is undeniably the most Teletubbies the TARDIS has ever looked. Take that as you will. All in all, though it had its moments, The Star Beast is a deeply flawed episode that doesn't do the best job of kicking off Doctor Who's 60th birthday. Will the next special fare better? Let's find out.